Good morning, peeps. Happy Monday morning. Time for our daily business scope, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Lee Cole. If you will give me 2 seconds, the real experts. How are you doing today? I just messaged you on Twitter. Let me take my link and take that over to LinkedIn and Facebook, and we will get going. We are having an all LinkedIn week. I promised you guys last week that I was going to, Chad, how are you doing? Thank you for joining the show. I promised you guys last week that I was going to unpack LinkedIn for you, and we were just going to focus on that this week because I had several people ask me about that middle of last week. So this is the week, and hello there. And you guys are going to learn a ton of cool stuff. So give me a second. Let me put my link in Facebook. Join my daily business scope. Linked in. It would help if I could spell. One. I'm just going to number these 1 through 5. They'll be on my blog and available for you at some point. Okay, so we copy that. Post that. Okay, let me get my Evernote notes up. Turn the chair around. I hope everybody here is doing great. Real quick, I know I've got people on here who know me in case there's other people on here who don't know me. Let me introduce myself real quick. My name's Lee Cole. And I have been making a full-time living with internet marketing and network marketing for over 5 years now. I'm the real deal. I put the roof over our heads, the car in the driveway, the food on the table, buy the lessons, pay for the medical bills, all of that stuff through my online business. I used to be a high school mathematics teacher. I quit in the summer of 2010. Emma, thank you for joining the show. And I decided to start doing these scopes at the end of August, first part of September, because I wanted a safe place where people could come and hear a real person who actually does make real money with these kinds of businesses. Obviously, I'm not trying to impress anybody. I've got on this sweatshirt that's probably, God knows, it's older than my kids, okay? And they're teenagers, but it's because I play with the dog right before I come in here. But you know, I'm the real deal. This is a safe place for you guys to come and learn about these businesses in a hype-free environment. Yes, and the rest of the internet and the rest of your interaction with me and the rest of the world, I will try to sell you something. I'm a born salesman. This is not an exaggeration. I have literally been selling stuff since I was 12. When I was a mathematics teacher, I had other businesses on the side where I was selling stuff, okay? When I was 12 years old, I used to sell Christmas trees and light bulbs, door to door. I was a door-to-door 12-year-old light bulb salesman here in Atlanta, and actually did pretty good with it. But so selling is in my blood, but this place right here on this scope, which happens Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. By the way, follow me. I've got great content. This is a safe place for you to come where you can hear the real deal, the inside skinny about these businesses. I am an evangelist for helping people change their relationship between their life. Yaretsky M, thank you for joining the show. Changing their relationship between their life, their time, and their money. Cool. So last week, a bunch of you guys, well, I've forgotten what day it was, but a bunch of you guys asked me if I could help you out with LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot. And by the way, thank you so much for those beautiful hearts. I'm almost to 10,000 hearts now. So if we can give me a few more hearts, I'll break the 10,000 barrier. And then we'll work on the 15,000. But yeah, a bunch of you asked me about LinkedIn. Some of you know that I'm a heavy user of LinkedIn, and asked me if I would do some scopes on LinkedIn. And I thought, you know, why not just like do a week of scopes on LinkedIn? Now, this will be applicable for you for any business whatsoever. You're going to have to think, I don't know exactly how you're going to use it, so you're going to have to think through some of the details. By the way, put some questions in the chat, in the question, just type, okay? That's how old I am. I think of this as typing. Type in some questions if you have questions. I don't mind questions at all. I've got my little, what I'm looking at over here is my Evernote, where I've got what I want to talk about today. But basically, if you look at all 5 of these, oh, thank you for that, Emma, for inviting your followers. If you look at all of these, you'll end up with a very good handle on how to use LinkedIn. You will find all of these and all of my scopes and all of my other content, which is pretty huge, on my blog, internetmaverick.com. There's my buddy Stace. How are you doing today, Stace? internetmaverick.com. And look on the navigation bar where it says Periscopes. Click that, or touch, click, whatever you're doing, and you will see all of my scopes in order. Good morning. So yeah, LinkedIn. Let me help you understand a couple of things about how LinkedIn works, because it's a little different from Facebook. It's a little different from Twitter. In LinkedIn, we have levels of connections. There used to be a game that kids played in college. This was after I went to college, but I think it was called 6 Degrees of Separation or something like that. Look, Carol, how are you? By the way, Carol, I messaged you on Twitter, so read that message when you can, and what you said's fine. We just need to sort of firm up a time there. But that game 6 Degrees of Separation or something like that, or I wasn't in college at the time. I was working, but basically, so my next door neighbor, okay, that's I guess you would call that 1 degree of separation, okay, or 0. I don't know if you start at 0 or 1, but if you think of this, there's a direct connection with me and my next door neighbor. I know her. She's a friend of ours. We are directly connected. But now she has friends who are not friends of mine. Okay? So it's like she has direct connections who are not connected, whom I don't know. I could go to the grocery store and walk right by them. I would never know who they are, right? Now that is a direct connection for her, but that person would be what we would call an indirect connection for me. Okay, so they would be like 2 levels away from me. And let's say they had friends who are not friends of my next door neighbor and not friends of me. Well, those friends would be 3 levels away from me. Now let's take it over to LinkedIn. So I've got my LinkedIn profile, that's me, okay, so it's like the top of a pyramid, okay, and my profile is like right at the tippy top of the pyramid. And then I've got all those people that I am directly connected to. These are what LinkedIn calls your connections, and I've got 4,500 some odd of those, which is a ton. Now, but those people are connected themselves to this person over here might be connected to 1,000, that person there might be connected to 300. So all of those people that they're connected to, that I'm not connected to, but they are directly connected to. So again, the pyramid, it's like, as we go toward the base, it gets broader. So on that second level, all of those people, I haven't checked LinkedIn recently, but for me, because I have 4,500 direct connections, those indirect connections, which we also call second tier connections, those are in the millions for me. Now, what that allows me to do, I can type in virtually anything I want into LinkedIn search, and Tuesday through Friday, we'll actually turn the phone around and you'll look at my computer, and I'll go over to LinkedIn and show you some stuff. But I could type in virtually anything I want to. I was doing some training on LinkedIn a couple of months ago, and I typed in, I think, commercial insurance San Diego. Well, in my second-tier connections, there were a few thousand second-tier connections for me of commercial insurance San Diego. Now, here's what's cool. Here is what's cool. You can reach out to those second tier connections and suggest that they be connected with you. And you can start that process of getting them into your world defined as your first tier connections. So that's basically how LinkedIn works, okay? A lot of people are real confused about this. And also, a lot of stuff has changed. A lot of people have promoted what I call the group strategy on LinkedIn. In other words, join groups and then message people in groups and all that stuff. That's valid. It's not how I do it. It is not as valid as it used to be because LinkedIn, forgotten when it was 3 or 4 months ago, started really cracking down on how many people in a group you can message when you're not directly connected to those people. Okay, so if you bought some stuff in the past from other people, I've got some LinkedIn stuff you can buy, and if you're interested, just let me know. I'm not here to sell you anything on these scopes, okay? But if you bought some LinkedIn stuff in the past, and it was all about the group methodology, that methodology is much weaker than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. It used to work really well 2 years ago. They started clamping down on it a little bit and then seriously clamped down on it this summer. So it doesn't work nearly as well as it used to. In other words, do it like you're going to learn from me this week. So, but before we get into all of that, before you get on LinkedIn and you start doing all this stuff that Lee told you to do and all that stuff, there's some things that have to happen beforehand so that you don't waste your time thinking that you're working. This is what I see so much with people that buy, stuff from me about social media, LinkedIn and other social media platforms to use in business, people that we do coaching with, et cetera, et cetera. I see people doing all of this work on social media and getting nothing out of it, but they think they're working. And I'm not being harsh, but I am being clear, okay? They think they're working, and they're not really working. And the reason that they're not really working is what I want to go over with you today. I want to get your head straight about your business. Now, you may say, well, Lee, I don't really have a business. I want to have a business. Okay, well, you're better off than the people on here who have a business because you don't have bad habits to break. But I want you to get your head straight about this, and then tomorrow we will launch into the mechanics of how to do all this stuff. Sailboat. I love that handle. Bellina. Nice handle. Also, thank you for joining the show. We're talking all about LinkedIn. So, again, and we're going to do this all week, and it's ending up on my blog, internetmaverick.com, where you can refer to all of these shows. And, of course, you have it available on your phone for 24 hours. On Periscope if you need to refer to it. But this is the stuff that has to happen before you launch out on any social media campaign. And this is kind of in order, but let's just talk our way through it. Number one, you need to know what your goal is. Well, what's your goal? That differs for a lot of people. West Wind Coming, thanks for joining the show. 2 weeks ago we ran a heart campaign, and I had several winners of the heart campaign. And one of the winners of the heart campaign is a guy who's a real estate agent, actually lives north of where I do in Atlanta. And I live in Atlanta, he lives north of where I do. And he wants to, what you won with the heart campaign was a 30-minute Skype conversation with me. And we're going to talk about this issue, social media. He's doing a lot of work with social media, but I don't think he's getting a lot out of it. I'm pretty sure I already know where the problem is, because the problem is usually in the same place for everybody. And it's usually because you haven't figured out what your goal is, what you want out of social media. So somebody like a real estate agent, what do they want? Okay, well, they want people in their car that they're driving around town showing houses to, or they want their sign in a bunch of more people's yards. For a residential real estate agent, that's all that counts, those two things. What's your goal? Okay, I mean, do you own a website? Do you want more people do you want more eyeballs on your website? You want more passive traffic, people to like see content, think, ooh, that's cool. I'm going to click on that and then go to your website. Do you want more people to land on your squeeze page? Do you want more people? Let's say you're a business consultant. I consult with businesses. Let's say you're a business consultant. Do you want your phone to ring more? Do you want more businesses calling you and saying, hey, I'm kind of interested in having you rebuild my website, want to talk to you about that, or want you to do some video marketing for me? Um, let's take it out of the world of internet marketing. Let's take it back into the world of selling other stuff. Suppose you're a personal trainer, okay? I am oddly enough connected to many personal trainers on LinkedIn. I don't know really how that happened, but some of whom have kind of become buddies of mine. But so how does a personal training business work? You want the phone to ring and people to basically say, "Hey, so and so, I'm tired of being fat and feeling like a slug. Let's I want to pay you to get my butt in shape." I mean, how does that work? Now, see, this has nothing to do with social media. It's got everything to do with how you run your business. So you need to know how you run your business first, because social media is not a panacea. It's not a cure-all. It's just a way to aggregate a bunch of people and to sort of pre-sell them on you and who they are and who you are, so that they're kind of sort of disposed to do business with you by the time you hook up with them. That's all social media does. So you need to start with figuring out your goal. Now, suppose your goal is for your phone to ring. Let's say you're a business consultant or the real estate agent or the personal trainer, and the goal is, Lee, I want my phone to ring more. Okay, well, how are people, now you got to back up from that, okay? How are people going to get your phone number? Where is the phone number going to be? Cone Zone, I love that handle. Thank you for joining the show. We're talking about LinkedIn. And we're going to, guys, and I had a bunch of people join just last few minutes. We're going to be talking about this all week. I'm a heavy LinkedIn user. I'm a business consultant. And you were sitting here talking, or I'm talking to you in this is my video studio that I use to shoot videos, and which is why the phone's at kind of a crazy angle. But we're talking about how to use LinkedIn in various ways in online businesses, consulting businesses, et cetera, et cetera. And check me out at LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Lee Cole Online. So let me say that again, linkedin.com/in/Lee Cole Online. You will see that I'm the real deal. I got like, you can't see all my connections, but it's about 4,500. So you got to figure out your goal. What do you want people, you're connecting with all these people on social media and you got this big flurry of activity. Why? Well, Lee, I want the phone to ring. Okay, cool. Now, let's back up from that. Look, I know how the phone rings, okay? But the person calling you, how did they get your number? Think about that. How do you want them to get your number? I can think of a bunch of ways. If you got a bunch of first-tier connections on LinkedIn, as I do, about 4,500, some odd. I haven't looked recently. But one way they could get your numbers, you could just print out a spreadsheet of all your first-tier connections and sit there and message everybody. That would be one way for them to get your number. Hi, so-and-so, we're connected on LinkedIn. Just wanted to remind you that I'm a personal trainer. I live in Boston. If you're in the Boston area and you want to get in shape for the Christmas season, or if you're planning on this being your New Year's resolution, be very happy to talk to you about it. Here's my phone number. You could do that. I mean, that is a valid thing to do. So you guys who are my peeps, my followers, that I'm also an affiliate for a company out of Germany that sells gold. Well, this is mainly what I currently use LinkedIn for. I message people and tell them, I have a specific way of doing this that's very non-threatening, actually does work, but It boils down to getting people interested in my gold deal and getting them on the phone and talking about it. So the printing out the message and again, tomorrow through Friday, we're going to actually turn the phone around, look at my computer, and I'll show you how to do this nuts and bolts. Today's kind of like the getting your head straight day. Other ways of getting people to call you. All right, Bill, how are you? Other ways of getting people to call you. Well, they can land on your website. They can land on a squeeze page. They can land on some, a promotional site like what we call a thin website, because it doesn't have many pages, where it just states who you are and gives your phone number. Well, another way to do that would be for you to be constantly putting content into LinkedIn. And yes, that does work. The status updates, there are two ways to put content in LinkedIn. The status updates and then LinkedIn blogging. And we'll talk about all of this week. Constantly updating your status update, not hammering people with a spammy message over and over again, but like, interesting stuff, interesting stuff, interesting stuff, promotional message, interesting stuff, interesting stuff, interesting stuff, promotional message. I do that. I have tracked that with link trackers, things that tell me where my, where my traffic came from, and yes, that does work. And then it doesn't have to be one way that you're doing this, but I'm saying you have to build a system in your head. Okay, so your goal is to get the phone to ring, okay, or your goal is to get eyeballs on your goal is to get emails. Your goal is to get people landing on your squeeze page and saying, I would like that free whatever. I'm going to give them my email, right? Your goal is to do that. Your goal is to get whatever, okay? So you got to, well, how's that going to happen? How are those people going to know to take that action? Those people, meaning your first tier connections. Of course, this all presupposes that you have a bunch of first tier connections. Some of you do and some of you don't. And we will discuss, I'll show you how to make that happen. So, see, social media is, a lot of people just, they just get, what about Weekly Shopper? I'm talking about LinkedIn, and I'm not sure what Weekly Shopper is. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with LinkedIn or not. But this week we're focused specifically on how to use LinkedIn. A lot of people just get because social media is still new-ish, okay, and they think, I'm just going to get a bunch of action going on social media, and that will solve the problem. And it never solves the problem. And the reason it never solves the problem is because you hadn't thought through the things I'm telling you to think through today. Because social media is fundamentally an aggregator, okay? It's fundamentally, Daria, thank you for joining the show. Social media is fundamentally an aggregator. Facebook is an aggregator of your friends. Twitter is an aggregator of God knows what. LinkedIn is an aggregator of business connections. I say God knows what on Twitter because if you unpack the average person's account on Twitter, it's 80% bots. But social media is an aggregator. It's a way of getting a bunch of people kind of sort of in your world a little bit, but the problem is from their side, there's so much noise, they don't know who you are, right? Look at your average person's Twitter feed. Okay, nobody looks at their Twitter feed, right? That's not how you use Twitter. So, social media is a way to get a bunch of people that you can contact. And it's also a way to start positioning yourself. It's kind of like brand advertising. If you know the difference between what we call Madison Avenue brand advertising. So this would be advertising that you see in a magazine for laundry detergent, as opposed to direct advertising, which is like a sales letter online. Or before the internet used to be a sales letter that you would get in the mail for like life insurance or something. Social media is also a platform to, once you get people aggregated, kind of separated, to brand advertise to. This is Lee. This is what he's about. That's what your profile's for. Okay, it all starts with your profile. and to kind of keep you top of mind. Now they're not going to remember who you are, but so that when you have figured out how you're going to make the phone ring and you have figured out how you're going to get eyeballs on the squeeze page, so when they get there, they think, Lee, yeah, I kind of remember that guy. I remember seeing an update or something. I clicked on something. That's familiar. There's a familiarity. It's not just totally cold and you know, just totally from left field. Just thank you for joining the show. Next item. People get lost in social media. I mean, they really do. They spend hours per day. No, I don't know Vladimir Putin. Personally, obviously I know who he is. But we're talking about LinkedIn, so let's focus on what this is about or else I'll block you. I'm not against Putin. I'm just saying that we have to focus on what the show's about. People get lost in social media. They think they're working because they're doing stuff, right? And they're getting all of these new friends or new contacts or new followers, right? And okay. I guess Chustrov got blocked. Oh well. So, and I can't read Russian, so I have no idea what you just said. But anyway. So, we're talking about LinkedIn. Let's keep this on a positive format, please. So, people get lost in social media. They think they're working because their Twitter followers are growing. I'm going to tell you a horrific story in just a second. Their Twitter followers are growing. Their friends are growing on Facebook. They're getting connections out the yin yang, on LinkedIn, and they're not making any money. True story. Had a guy here in Atlanta reach out to me on LinkedIn and said, Lee, I've been following you, blah, 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 and I was wondering if you could meet me at Starbucks sometime. I just, would like to meet you person to person. Well, this guy was a published author, and I've forgotten his name, actually. This was about a year and a half ago. This guy's a published author. He had, check this out, 250,000 followers on Twitter. Almost. It was 240,000. Some odd. A ton of folks. So we're sitting there drinking coffee at Starbucks, and we're just talking about social media and his book and blah, blah, blah. I don't mind helping people at all, And he said, Lee, I said, man, 250,000, that's cool. I wish I had 250,000 people following me on Twitter. He said, Lee, it's no big deal. I don't know how to make money off of Twitter. I've got 250,000 people following me on Twitter, and it's worthless to me. I said, that's really sad. He said, yeah, especially since it took me like 2 or 3 years of effort to build that up in various ways, and now it's worthless. I'm not saying Twitter's worthless. I'm saying that he hadn't thought through this. Okay? By the way, I told him how to monetize his Twitter account. And I think the last time I heard from him, it was starting to work for him. But my point is, you can get seriously lost in social media. Seriously lost. You can just blow a lot of time, and it looks like it's getting somewhere because the numbers are growing, right? It's not getting anywhere. The reason it's not getting anywhere is because you hadn't thought through what I'm telling you to think through today, which is what we must think through before we launch. Hey, hello there. Before we launch into, this whole week's about LinkedIn. Before we turn the phone around and actually look at my computer, and I'll show you how to do this stuff. Because otherwise, all I'm doing, if you don't get your head straight about what you want out of this, specifically if you don't know what your goal is, your end result, and if you don't know how your user, the other person is going to achieve that end result, you want your phone to ring? Where are they going to find your phone number? You want more emails? How are they going to get to the squeeze page? If you hadn't thought through all of that stuff, then all you're doing is you're just spinning your wheels. Okay. So cool beans. I like my scopes to be about 30 minutes, and this is an excellent stopping place. The admonition to not get lost into social media. So here are your takeaways. This is what I want you to take away from today's show. By the way, this is all on my blog, internetmaverick.com, internetmaverick.com. You can see all my scopes on there. I'm doing a whole week of scopes on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn expert. Go find me. LinkedIn.com/in/Lee Cole Online. Lee Cole Online. You will see me there, and actually do know what I'm talking about, and happy to help you with it. But Tuesday through Friday of this week, we're going to actually use the phone, do scopes, look at my computer, and I'm going to show you how to do stuff. But today, I want you to think, what do I want to get out of social media? What do I want to get out of LinkedIn? You know, what's the thing, the generator for my business? Is it the phone ringing? Is it more emails that I get from my, is it more people subscribing to my list? What is the generator for my business? And then back up from that into the social media. Well, how do I get the eyeballs on the squeeze page? How do people know what phone number to call? Okay, now if you can answer all of that, then you're good to go on social media. That will keep you from spinning your wheels. If you're not good to go on that, if you don't have that really clearly in mind. Now look, I'm not saying you can't change it later on. You can change it later on, but you must start with that clarity. If you don't start with that clarity, all you're doing is you might as well just like take 3 or 4 hours a day and not work. Just binge watch, your next favorite TV show, because that's about all good this is going to do you. Okay? You must have that clarity about the goals. All right? So cool beans. Tomorrow, same time, same station. Monday through Friday, I do a daily business scope, 9 a.m. Eastern. Today, this week, we're focusing on how to use LinkedIn. And this is going to be some cool stuff. By the end of these scopes on Friday, whether you're live, you're looking at a replay, go to my blog and see the replay. You're going to learn how to master LinkedIn, and you will be able to, for any business on the planet, any kind of business, you will be able to use LinkedIn very effectively just by watching these scopes. Thank you so much, and I'll see you same time, same station tomorrow. Y'all have a great day.